Hello again, guys. It's Roger, and welcome back for part 6. Actually, I wanted to show you two more things. I forgot. These few punch boards here are for. This is for the Avalon Adventure board game. So take a look here. These are the tracking tokens. And remember, we discussed this in the past videos. I think it was the rule book development series. When you leave region in Avalon, you put a tracking token in it. So that's the tracking token, the final tracking tokens um, for that. And then these are the rune tokens, and of course there's a backside to all these. So those are the rune tokens, and kind of like like the green one on the reverse side. These are all going to look the same because remember in this game you have to find the 3 real runes of eternity, which of course are the green, the yellow, and the red. So in each zone there's going to be 3 3 potential green ones, 3 yellow ones, and 3 red ones in those regions. So on the reverse side, these 3 look the same, these 3 look the same, these 3 look the same. So every game it's always random. These will always show up in different places and in different regions of Avalon, corresponding to if it's green, yellow, or red. Rejuvenation potions, these are exclusive to the Avalon Adventure board game. And on the reverse side of those, that says that your hero regains 3 health and 3 essence. And these can be carried over into Dungeon Crusade to use. If you end up this game, if you end the game of the Avalon Adventure board game and you're going into Dungeon Crusade, you can take those into it. That is the war banner for when you're moving around there. So that's that. So I forgot to show you that one. Then this is for Heroes versus Monsters, and then this is for the Master of the Realm edition. So if you're getting that, you get Heroes versus Monsters, Skulljack, and the Adventures of Bravely the Knight. So we'll take just a quick look at those. Those are the tokens that you're going to use for Heroes versus Monsters. And actually, I redesigned the Bravely miniature. And of course, the amazing artist Damian Marmality painted all of this stuff here. And I gave Bravely a different kind of colored background than the Heroes had, and made him a little bit brighter, so he pops more. And then the amazing Cole did the cut lines rather. So I think that's a pretty cool miniature for the Adventures of Bravely the Knight. Okay, now listen, we are going to talk about something pretty awesome here, the surprise and different ways to play Dungeon Crusade. Now what I'm going to show you was in one of the updates, okay? This is in the scenario book. I think you guys know, if you know my history, I grew up playing this kind of stuff and like board games and video games and RPGs, everything. When I created this, the scenario page for this, especially when you're getting Dungeon Crusade, I wanted to give you the most bang for the buck, the most, so many different ways to enjoy this game, for you to tailor the game, make a custom game for you. And so I think you're going to really, if you've not seen this before, I think you're really going to enjoy this. Again, I put a ton of thought and creativity in this, and I don't think you've ever seen anything quite like this before. So this is scenario 1, and I've shared this, so it's not really a spoiler. This is scenario 1, and actually remember we were just talking about a mother's request and tools of the trade. Here are those 2 quests right here. So that will be in scenario 1. So on our scenario page, we see there's our war hero. That's Rune, one of the characters from when I wrote the story for Dungeon Crusade. That's a massive viper. And so the format for this is kind of like what you see. I always would put a monster when you see the other scenario pages. And no, I'm not going to share anymore. This is it. So you always see like kind of a monster. You'll see, of course, the name of what I wrote for this, and then the heroes are defending Witherbrook, which was one of the main villages. So if you want, let's read this together. So this is right when the heroes have arrived in Avalon to save them from all these monsters. So Rune, you have arrived. I welcome you, heroes, to the land of Avalon. I am Rune, sworn defender of these troubled lands. I trust your journey from Hope's Reach was a safe one. All is not well here. Monsters plague our land, bringing death and destruction in their wake. Your first task is to speak to the villagers and see if there is anything you can assist them with to gain their trust in you. So kind of like when we discussed like the mother's request and tools of the trade, I kind of like when I wrote the quests, they kind of go with like that flavor text what we just wrote or what we just read for that. So keep that in mind. Like the Baron's Wine, that's a very kind of a funny quest with the... Well, I'm not going to spoil that one, but it's a very fun quest. It's a great like introduction to Dungeon Crusade. I think you'll enjoy that. Let's talk about this bottom part, and this is something I know people are going to love, and I want to say this right now. And I've kind of hinted at this, but now that I can show you what I'm talking about, I know for a fact, guys, that there's going to be a lot of playthroughs of this game, like on YouTube and that, because for one, of everything that you can do. Also, remember the 3 different difficulties of the monster decks, and something we're going to see during setup. So I just want to reinforce, I know that people are going to have such a good time with this, creating these crazy different scenarios and then filming it to see what happens in the game, because I'm telling you, this game is just nuts, especially when you do what I'm going to show you. So let me get my paint thing. I should have a red dot. Good, I have a red dot ready. Let me explain something about the scenario page. I created 3 different game modes that you could play just from a scenario. All right. The first game mode is, we'll get down here a little more. If you notice, if you're watching on a phone, tilt it sideways and expand it so you can see this really good. The first game mode, I created 6 difficulties for everything. These are different entries on how you want to set up. This is for advanced setup. So there's 6 difficulties that you can choose from. So let's say our first game mode is, you just select a difficulty. That's super simple, and I'd recommend playing on novice. So when you set up the game for novice, all you're going to do is go right down the thing. You're going to go all the stuff that says, novice, you're going to set the game up like this. So what that means is, like healing potions, the Bizarre Inventory, they're going to have a lot of healing potions. They're going to have a ton of elixirs for your heroes. They're going to have a ton of ochre juice. They're going to have, torches, 10 torches. Same with the blacksmith inventory. These colored gems represent common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary gear. So if you're playing on novice difficulty, there's going to be an abundance of this stuff, of course, making the game easier for you. Same over here, village terror level. If you're playing a novice, it's at 1. That means the villagers are doing cool. They seen a monster, but they scared it off. Where, if it's up to 9, the monsters are wreaking havoc in this village. So you could set this for anything and in between. Because the terror level goes from, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12. So you can set this to whatever you're liking. This is just a suggestion. And again, it corresponds to the difficulty. Raid difficulty, these are the roll of a die. So like a D20, a D12, D10, D8, D64. So let's say we chose novice difficulty. That means that on a minion's turn, you're going to roll a D20. On a result of a 20, that vagrant minion will convert into a raiding minion. Hopefully all this is like, now that from what we talked about, if you followed the series, this is all kind of clicking. So you can see, if you're going to play with a raid difficulty of 20, you're going to have a pretty easy time. These minions are going to stay vagrant minions, meaning they're just going to roam throughout the dungeon on the patrol route system. They're just going to go about their business. They don't care about raiding the village. However, if you put it up to something like hard on 8, you're going to be rolling a D8, meaning on a result of 8, they're going to convert into a raiding minion. And if you're really crazy, and if you're a crazy crusader, you're going to play on master, meaning you're going to roll a D4, and on a result of 4, they're going to raid the village. So keep this in mind for what we're going to be talking about. But this is what I wanted to do for people, not just give you a scenario and say, here, play it like this. No. People that play these games are creative, they're imaginative, they want to tailor their game to their liking, and you can do that with Dungeon Crusade. Monster spawn track, you can, how soon monster or guardians are going to spawn in. Guardians per quest table. Maybe this goes with see kill the guardians quests. Maybe you just want to have an easy time. Only one guardian's going to spawn. That's a cakewalk. And again, I'd recommend